going on? Welcome back. So, after years of head-scratching and idiotic decisions at DC Films production and Warner Brothers, it looks like things are about to change in a big way. But in a good or bad way, I'm not sure yet. It's hard to tell. It's hard to trust anyone in Hollywood. But recent moves at least make it appear that things are off to a good start. But, I've been wrong before. So, in case you're unaware, Walter Hamada stepped down as president of DC Films last week after only 4 years in the position. And shit, that was a serious bullet dodge. I mean, this was the guy responsible for keeping Henry Cavill from donning the cape. Again, as the Man of Steel. Even though he knew that's what the fans wanted. And instead planned on bringing in a Superman of color in the J.J. Abrams produced Ta-Nehisi Coates written film. And my God, what a disaster that would have been. Ta-Nehisi Coates is an insane man who absolutely despises white people. So you can only imagine what his Superman film would have been like. But as of yesterday, big news dropped, and I can't believe I missed it. So the news dropped that James Gunn and Peter Safran will now be leading the film, TV, and animation efforts as co-chairs and co-CEOs of DC Studios, the newly formed division that will replace DC Films. And they will report, directly to David Zaslav. So let's dig into this story. And by the way, that will make James Gunn exclusive to DC. So bye-bye, Marvel. DC shocker. James Gunn, Peter Safran to lead the film, TV, and animation division. The hierarchy of power in the DC universe really is changing. In a stunning turn of events, filmmaker James Gunn and producer Peter Safran have been tapped to lead DC's film, TV, and animation efforts as co-chairs and co-CEOs of DC Studios, a newly formed division at Warner Brothers that will replace DC Films. The unprecedented move in which a top director will assume a top executive post marks the end of a months-long search by Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav to replace DC Films boss Walter Hamada, who departed the studio last week. That search had all of Hollywood guessing and playing executive bingo for who would land one of the most coveted and challenging jobs in town. Instead of reading through this whole damn thing, let's just check out this video here.
Filmmaker James Gunn and producer Peter Safran have been tapped to lead DC's film, TV, and animation efforts as co-chairs and co-CEOs of DC Studios, a newly formed division at Warner Brothers that will replace DC Films. The unprecedented move in which a top director like Gunn will assume a top executive post marks the end of a months-long search by Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav to replace DC Films boss Walter Hamada, who departed the studio last week. Gunn will focus on the creative side of things, while Safran will focus on the business and production side. Both are expected to continue to direct and produce projects respectively. Sources say the deal runs 4 years and Gunn will be exclusive to DC. The goal is for them not just to be producers, but to truly function as executives, even as Gunn will occasionally hone a movie. The pair said in a statement, "We're honored to be the stewards of these DC characters we've loved since we were children. We look forward to collaborating with the most talented writers, directors, and actors in the world to create an integrated, multi-layered universe that still allows for the individual expression of the artists involved." They continued, "Our commitment to Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Harley Quinn, and the rest of the DC stable of characters is only equaled by our commitment to the wonder of human possibility these characters represent. We're excited to invigorate the theatrical experience around the world as we tell some of the biggest, most beautiful, and grandest stories ever told." As for Gunn's future at Marvel, there has been talk that he could continue on in some form after the conclusion of his Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy. However, this news seems to have closed the door on his chapter in the MCU. For much more on this story, go to thr.com.
So yeah, there you go. Big fucking news. Very interesting. But I'm still not sure, how I feel about this. I like Gunn's movies, and while he is a doofus politically, he at least so far never seems to inject his nonsense views into his films. And he just focuses on making interesting characters, dialogue, and fun. Safran has produced some big movies like the Conjuring and Annabelle films. I don't really give a shit about those. But also Aquaman, Shazam, and its upcoming sequel. And he even produced Gunn's The Suicide Squad. Oh well, too bad for Marvel. Suck it up, boys. So the move comes at a seismic moment for the DC, which for the past 4 years has been led by Hamada under the DC Films banner. The executive departed amid friction with new Warner's leadership under Zaslav, who made the controversial decision to axe HBO Max-bound film Batgirl. Good riddance to that piece of garbage. In August, and has vowed to reshape DC with a 10-year plan as it seeks to compete with rival Marvel Studios. Even though Zaslav talked about finding a Kevin Feige-style executive, over the summer, the team started looking at emulating the Pixar model, in which you have producers and filmmakers working as executives. That has never been tried in the live-action space. So yeah, this is definitely huge news. And while Disney Marvel is over there rolling around in the dirt, releasing crappy movies and TV shows while lecturing people with their woke agenda, Warner Brothers is shaking things up in their leadership at DC, and so far, promising to simply listen to the fans and give them fun movies. And given the fact they brought Henry Cavill back in Black Adam in a last-minute addition, I think they may just be telling the truth. So yeah, this is definitely going to have to be a wait-and-see situation. There's not much more to add to this. We all know James Gunn can make a good movie, but how will he perform in a leadership position with Peter Safran? I don't know. But I doubt it will be as bad as all the shit that Walter Hamada had planned, with the two having to answer directly to David Zaslav, who was the one giving Hamada a hard time over his decisions. It's looking a little more hopeful. So that's about it. What do you think of all this? Are you excited about this news? Or are you just completely checked out on anything related to Hollywood? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Also, if you would like the video, if you did, please consider sharing it and subscribing. It helps me out a lot. And I'll see you in the next one.